the ledger you found in the trash. A cabbage of papers hanging from the board. Behind the dockworkers, a ceiling-height window. The hawthorn branches scrape the glass. It's the ledger you found in the trash. Arson, petty theft, spousal abuse. Handwritten logs on dozens of investigations date back to January 51. Stamped case files, commit to paper. These are your last couple of months in Revachol, Precinct 41, Jamrock Quarter.
Yes, how very childish of you. In your and my defense, almost everyone in the RCM uses the titular system, in addition to the official alphanumeric. It's a holdover from the early days of the RCM, right after the revolution, when the organization had little idea how to do things. It persists in an unofficial capacity. Officers use these titles to refer to their work among themselves. Again, in your defense, I seem to have named one, the man with the hole in his head. That was a real person. His death was real. Still, I named it that, to amuse myself. I pray his loved ones never find out. Rail spiked through the head. He died. It was a workplace accident.
You don't exactly close them, so much as distance yourself. It takes about half an hour to piece one together, using the system you've devised. Which one do you want? This one is relatively easy to reconstruct. Overnight on 1202, a graffito, nay, a mural, appears on an 8-story tenement overlooking central Jamrock. The building is a sparsely inhabited ghost tower, part of a failed real estate development called Grand Couronne. Cause of failure, rent too high. The mural is enormous. 2 silhouettes, a man and a woman, are kissing. The text cut into their form reads, "True love is possible only in the next world. For new people, it is too late for us. Wreak havoc on the middle class. People call it that thing and that fucking thing. It's visible for miles. In 2 days, the station's complaints desk gets clogged with requests to remove the bummer. You and your partner are assigned to the case. The graffito crew is easy to track down. Only the bell lectures have the literage of industrial paint to cover the surface. One of the graffito artists is rumored to be rich. They take responsibility for the execution, but not the design. The ideologue of the next world mural, as the crew calls it, remains an unknown. The case files do not show you finding the author of the design. The crew agrees to clean up after themselves. However, your partner, JV, is against the removal, citing public support for conservation. This leads to a debate in Precinct 41, which then spreads to the streets of Jamrock, ending in a rare plebiscite organized by you and the rest of Row 3. The 9,000 people subjected to the mural's message, all of Lakeside, Central Jamrock, and Villalobos, plus half of the eminent domain, participate in the vote. Although the case begins with what appears to be a lot of rambling on the streets as to how juvenile and stupid the mural is, given a choice between 2 options. A staggering 78% of voters choose to keep it. Turns out the opposition were a loud minority. And that love truly is possible in the next world for new people. And it is too late for us. No one cares what you believe in, man with the smelly toilet ledger. What do you want to tackle next? Or are we done? Not much has changed in the meanwhile. Behind the dockworkers, a ceiling height window. The dented yellow mailbox. The box seems happy. It's the ledger you found in the trash. It takes about half an hour to be... AKA Leslie and Burke. AKA the public indecency drunk and the property damage drunk is a cursed case. It has been passed from unsuspecting officer to unsuspecting officer for 10 years. On January 29, the unsolvable case made its way to you. Why you accepted it, it is unclear. Every officer, and indeed most civilians in Jamrock, know it's unsolvable. Leslie will always take his pants off when he's drunk. Burke will always trash everything. It's just what they do. It is their nature. You cannot change the nature of a man, and you can't lock them away because public indecency and small-scale property damage are not punishable by incarceration. The only way for Leslie to stop displaying his genitals and for Burke to stop attacking things would be for them to stop drinking alcohol, which in their 40s or 50s, it's hard to tell because of their distorted features, is a medical improbability. Threatening, fines, dragging them to the station, locking them up in the hellholes they live in, locking them up in the station, hypnotherapy, even trying to get the local gang of Zemyaki to take them out. The Zemyaki gave them ethanol, so Burke and Leslie would expose and rampage even harder. You tried it all, and still the complaints wouldn't stop, as they hadn't stopped for 10 years. It's plain to see from the files. Satellite Officer JV and Special Consultant TH had more important cases to attend to. You uncover cross-reference to several ongoing investigations, each brought to a standstill every time you drive down Main Street. Because there they are, on the corner of perdition. And what is Leslie doing? Good, you're learning. If the files are to be trusted, that's all there is to it. That and Burke breaking things, and the fact that they're both drunk. But then again, so are you. The case becomes considerably less comic one day when Burke takes a swing at your ledger. He must have it confused with the property he likes to damage. But the joke's on him. You're drunk out of your mind on potent Pilsner. You slam the hardened plastic board in his face. Then you proceed to beat him unconscious with it. In the process, the ledger sustains damage. The compartment within, reserved for permeable documents, is jammed shut. You stop your assault on the now unconscious Burke to open it, but are unable to do so. The officer began to cry, reports Leslie, who, at this point, is tending to Burke. He came at us, and at us. I think he was trying to kill Burko. While trying to kill Burko, you slowly come around. The permeables compartment is open. You've smashed it open on poor Burko's kneecaps. The good news is, Burke can't walk anymore. Can't get out of his apartment, an invalid. With Burke to tend to, Leslie cuts back on the indecent exposure. Maybe he flashes his genitals to Burke. Who knows? But both drunks are off the street. The complaints stop. The unsolvable case is solved. Which is also why the officer responsible narrowly escapes a disciplinary hearing. The end. Do you want to read another one? Not much has changed in the meanwhile. This door is made of metal and appears to be reinforced. No one answers.
We should return tomorrow. Tomorrow at 9 p.m.
Behind the dockworkers, a ceiling. The bed is still cold from the broken window, and not too inviting. But it's yours. You've earned it. The bed is still cold from the wind blowing in from the broken window. The mattress creaks as you close your eyes and try your hardest to fall asleep.
Here we are again, my broken bird. The waves are coming, carrying you away. But you can't go. No, you have to stay. Always half aware of yourself. You're not cooperating, brother man. It's your disgusting body. Even through your sleep you feel a vague discomfort suffusing it. Your belly and your sides are unpleasantly tender. You wish you could curl up into a fetal ball of safety. But you cannot, because of the pain.
That pain in your right side is your enlarged liver, by the way. As for your kidneys, you've really been compounding the damage lately. But this suffering, it must have some kind of meaning. A story that will come out of it. Perhaps even a story that you will write yourself.
Oh yes, they'll check you out, give you some pills, make it all okay. The Wonder Makers.
Don't be stupid, Harry. It's not happening. They don't make new kidneys and livers in hospital. All you've got to do is pray to God it passes and stare at the flickering darkness.
You're just stuck here, in the half-world. Could try looking at other people, really looking. But why would you want to start doing that? Sure you do. They're all so friendly, aren't they?
At least they're interesting. Each one has a process just like yours, running in the space between their ears, full of secrets. People are beautiful, statuesque, parodies and tragedies of themselves. A great democracy of creatures.
What do you think you're doing right now? Coming to some greater awareness? Look at all these lights, blinking in and out of existence. Thoughts! You're just pretending that you're asleep, even to yourself, while the world goes on without you.
Let it. Let it.
But it never seems to let you go, does it? Time to rise and wipe that shining sweat off as best you can. Gather your bearings. Rock and roll.
Yes?
The woman in an RCM patrol officer's uniform winces as she notices you.
I would really prefer not to talk to you right now. Yes, I am. I'm definitely not the cavalry. I don't know. I mean, why would I want to talk to you? No, you haven't wronged me. It's okay. Okay, fine. Let's talk. What did you want?
What does one talk about with a fellow officer?
What precinct?
Fucking deranged lunatic.
You're getting an intellectually unsatisfying vibe from this conversation. Maybe you're doing something wrong.
I don't know what to say.
Don't say anything, Judith.
I'm just looking out for...
No one. I'm just a man with sunglasses. And you are?
I just want to do my job, that's all.
Something about the man with sunglasses and you, the energy between you two, is making her uncomfortable.
Oh, hello, dear. There you are again.
Behind the dockworkers, a ceiling. A rusting control panel with loose wires dangling out from the hole where an indicator light used to be. You grab the handle and pull the lever up. As soon as the metal connects against the contact pins, you hear a loud clunk. Then, the water lock starts moving.
Okay, if we ever need to get to the coast, then this is the way. But please, contain your wanderlust for now. I don't want us to get sidetracked, not with everything that's going on.
Focus on one thing, achieve it, then the next, he thinks. That's the task chain. Great news. The boat is big enough for a grown man like you to fit underneath it in a supine position. I don't know. Sleeping? What do people do under boats? This is merely a measurement from your visual cortex. Do with it what you want. Huh?
Sarcastic self-pity is not what we need at this moment, officer. I understand the situation looks grim, but we must continue with our investigation.
Think of it as a salvation. You have a home somewhere. All cops do. When this is done, you can return. Banged-up motor carriage lies half submerged in the icy water, slowly sinking into the Insulindian Ocean. Only the cabin top, rear wheels, and the engine remain visible. Remember the tire tracks in Martinez? This is where they were leading.
It appears to be so. I agree. We should definitely investigate.
You get a sudden, sinking feeling. Stomach acid comes up as you look at the motor carriage in the deep, dark, cold water. Why the doom and gloom? It's just a sunken motor carriage. Some motor carriages are bound to end up in the sea. The motor carriage is properly stuck in the ice. Getting it out would require a team of specialists. A single day in the salty seawater would ruin most vehicles. But this one looks worn even in places the salt water hasn't touched it. The logo is too deep in the murky water. You can't make it out, but you do see a monkfish float by.
The ice hasn't closed around the vehicle yet. My guess is it's been here since last Saturday or Sunday.
The estimate is correct. The incident probably occurred on Sunday evening.
Let's wait for the low tide and see what's inside.
Great idea. Then we can get the things inside. The Joyrider must have left something good inside. Guns, papers, maybe a cool jacket. A Joyrider jacket.
I don't know. An hour or two, tops?
As you sit down in the old, rusty playground, the world around you becomes very silent. The hinges creak under your weight, dangerously so. Nothing but the sound of seagulls high above in the sky, echoing like distant laughter. Ice cracks around the blue motor carriage in the sea.
Yes, it does.
The tune on your lips forms a strange yet undeniably beautiful contrast with the surrounding bleakness. The lieutenant gives you a quick glance. Then, still looking straight ahead, he joins you with a higher pitched and slightly more melodic trill. Two birds on a wire, whistling by the seaside, looking at the water and the sunken car. The clouds pass in the sky, and the shadow of the swing moves like the hour hand on a timepiece. 30 minutes have passed. Looks like this might take a while. Time to present a good topic for discussion.
Well, historically, leeches have been used to prevent and even cure many ailments.
Okay, he's thinking, I can do this. Let's do this. Who'd want to sit on an anthill? There are no therapeutic benefits to... Well, napalm ants, for example, are used in some rites of passage rituals. Clouds on the horizon grow darker, and the shadow of the swing set keeps climbing. You hear the distant rumble of the city. 30 minutes pass.
Luckily, I am already a member of an independent organization, and therefore do not have to choose between a rock and a hard place.
Your voice echoes on the water, strange and out of place in the environment. 30 more minutes pass.
Yes, 41. What do you think it stands for?
It's as if he knows what it stands for, but wants you to say it. It's pedagogical. Does he know something about the driver of this vehicle?
I'm sorry, Harry. I'm so sorry.
Precinct 41. A massive pit opens up in your stomach, and the most terrible feeling comes over you. No. Just nope. Say no to this, Harry.
Yes, your car is in the sea. Face it, so we can start dealing with this.
The lieutenant just shakes his head.
I'm afraid so, yes. It looks like you started in front of the whirling, jumped over the canal, and then drove your vehicle in the sea right here.
The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and doesn't say anything.
You can still whistle. Besides, the night is always darkest before the dawn. Yes. Let's go take a look.
This is it, the scene of the party. The fire pit. Cigarettes and empty bottles all evidence it. A police badge on which you see the photo of a man. You. Some seaweed is stuck to the back.
At least something good came out of all this.
The worn and beaten wooden planks of the bench do not look overly comforting.
We can sit on benches after we've solved the murder. Let's go.
You can revisit the bench if you ever need to pass the time when...
These are some wonderfully regular pants. Not too tight, not too loose, moderate in every sense. You'll blend right in at some pleasant dinner party. Let's hope no one saw you wearing those outrageously regular, almost moralist pants. scruffy-haired little boy kicks a stone. He can't be more than 5 years old. The other one looks indistinguishable from him. He watches his brother kick the stone with his tongue lolling out of his mouth. The stone-kicking one becomes frantic all of a sudden, as if that's something to be scared of. The obvious fact that you just stated.
He looks just like me.
The boy doesn't answer. His brother throws another rock. Both of their hair is covered in some kind of dirt. The rock kicker was just being shy, but now he's enthusiastic again.
You're bad with kids. Don't worry, everyone is. How about we do some police work now? We're not getting anything here.
Hi, officer. Anything I can help you with? A fishing village on the seashore. This place doesn't really have a name. It's sometimes called Elysium. The sign on the street leading here is illegible. Has been since they built this place. The name is Lillian. People call me Netpicker. I think I have time for questions, and that was actually the second one.
Indeed, you're always confused as to your whereabouts.
Unfortunately, the factory sold this one with a 3-year warranty instead of a story. It's to intimidate folks, mostly. It's a regular mass-produced sword, like a shovel or an axe. Nothing fancy, just for intimidation. From time to time, people need a What makes you think we haven't? The truth is that almost everyone in this life is scared and tired and stupid and too dull for that. That goes for men too, but they put on an act for us. pretend like everything's good and living in shit doesn't bother them. Like anyone falls for that. Sure. It looks as if you could face down any horror in the world with that same unchanging grin. It's like a shield.
The traces of her laughter are still there, in her eyes, fading fast.
Some went to patch their wounds, their lesson learned. Others were more thick-headed. And one of them, I ended up marrying. Gone. To the waves. The sea took him. It was a long time ago. He didn't respect the sea. Went out there, drunk like a skunk, and sure enough, one day the boat was found floating empty. The bloated corpse turned up 2 weeks later. Now, before you tell me how sorry you are for my loss, know that it was 4 years ago, and I've moved on. There's only so much mourning you can do for a drunk with sinewy muscles. Us working folk don't have the luxury to be bedsick with melancholy. I buried him, mourned for an appropriate amount of time, and went on. Life didn't really change that much for me and the kids.
She looks like she's ready to go on a date with another, better, drunk. Ask her. Both of you could need some action.